Okay, let me start with the Harry Kane scoring record piece, right? So Harry Kane became England's record scorer, right? And it leads us back to this thing about if he does not win, there's two questions here, right? Harry Kane's world-class status, which I can't believe is in doubt, number one. And number two, if he does not win a major recognised trophy, does that sully his career in any way, shape or form? T, I'm coming to you first.
Harry Kane is world-class.
I agree.
He's not elite.
Ooh.
That's it.
How are you world-class?
Wait,
what's the difference?
No,
Can you
explain
the difference?
I understand what you said.
Elite players are winners. They win stuff.
Okay, I understood. Yeah.
I understand what you said.
Elite is elite, innit? There's a lot of world-class players.
Yeah, true.
Elite,
but there's a table of the best of the creme de la creme.
The picture that I sent in to the group yesterday or today, I can't remember. They're elite.
Yeah.
They win.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just fact.
What does he have to do?
Mourinho is elite. He wins.
Yeah.
What does he have to do to become elite?
Win something.
But
it's a team sport. It's a team sport.
But I don't care. What do you mean? He's at Spurs. What does that mean?
So
ain't they been to finals?
For him to become elite,
they in the FA Cup, the League Cup, the
it's
Premiership.
Not that straightforward.
Champions League.
It's not that straightforward.
They went to a Champions League
It's not that
final.
straightforward.
They're in competitions to win.
It's not that straightforward.
I agree with Mark in the sense that it's not straightforward, and I agree with Daz in the sense that it's a team game. Yes, it's hard to solely pin his lack of trophies on him. However, there are moments, i.e. the Champions League final, where big players like him are required to have big performances that can turn the game. You only need to look at Drogba for Chelsea against Bayern Munich. Big performance. Arguably responsible for them winning the trophy.
But it's still a team game.
Right.
His team turned up.
No, it is. But without his contributions, the header, the goal from his header, and then obviously the winning penalty. Those are moments that make you elite.
Separate yourself.
That separate you from the fodder. If you understand what I'm saying. So
and to Isaac's point, it's not a new thing. His record in semi-finals and finals isn't great. He's not great.
Weren't we saying that about Thierry Henry?
Not great at all.
But it's not his record though. It's Tottenham's record. It's not his record.
No, but even if you look at our big games, right, where the elite players, we expect them to shine, right? Mm-hmm. He hasn't performed there. I do think it is slightly superficial, but at the end of the day, for me, it's a combination of two things, right? He has to go and win a major trophy where him being Harry Kane in his level has contributed to that trophy. Do you understand? Even if he went to Man United next season, yeah, for argument's sake, played 10 games, scored 3 goals, got injured, and then got a Premier League at the end of the season, in 10 years' time when he's on Sky, they'll put Premier League winner. But the people who watch the game will still be like, still wasn't. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not as arbitrary as it sounds, but we're all thinking if he goes to a top level team, he's going to score. He's Harry Kane. Mm-hmm. So we want to just say, no, he should just go somewhere, not do anything and pick up a medal. We're saying he should go and do Harry Kane somewhere where it's going to lead to an achievement. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to the conversation me and you had in WhatsApp, where I'm saying, for me, the decisions he has or hasn't made about his career and where to go, they're now manifesting right in front of him, right?
He's not a winner.
That mentality, he took a bet and it's not paid off. He wanted to be the guy. Because if he wins a trophy at Tottenham, they will name
elite status.
They will name the tube station after him.
Gets a statue, all of that.
All of that.
England captain, record scorer. It will basically be like, see the status Rooney got at Man United, he does that at Tottenham and then brings him the first trophy for however long. But I think that bet hasn't paid off.
Yeah, I think the only thing Kane can be faulted on is not leaving Tottenham sooner. I
agree.
I think his goal numbers stack up. I know T's saying that he's not elite because he hasn't won a trophy. That doesn't sit with me. I think you're an elite player regardless of what you win.
Mm-hmm. So just to tell us that point quickly then. So if he retires tomorrow, you're sitting him because his numbers will put him in the creme de la creme of strikers. Mm-hmm. So when we're having these kind of conversations, you're going to put him in them brackets, the R9s and everything. You're going to put him in those brackets.
I'm putting him in those brackets because he's doing it at Tottenham. Like,
doing what at Tottenham? Just scoring. That's it.
but that's his job.
That's his job.
I understand everyone wants to win trophies, and
See him in
you
the
want
game.
you want to kind of show your medals off to your grandkids when you're in a wheelchair, etc.
No,
But right here, right now, you can't say that he's not comparable to the best strikers of his generation. You can't say, because he hasn't won X, Y, Z.
No, of his generation, he can be comparable.
Of course he's
But
comparable.
we're talking about the elite. So this transcendent generations, we're still going to be talking about R9 and Shearer and certain players in generation time because they were, to Terrell's point, they were the elite. They set the bar so high, there's only one or two every generation.
Okay, so my point is, the only difference between Harry Kane and Alan Shearer is that one Prem trophy. You can't say he's not elite because he doesn't have that.
Wait, hold on. There's two things here. Let's not minimize it. Alan Shearer is the record goal scorer by some long man in the Premier League and won the Premier League.
Kane's going to beat that though.
Okay.
Kane's going to beat that record.
Blackburn.
Okay, the Blackburn.
They were top team.
Yeah, they were top team.
They were top
They
team.
had all the money. That was Man City. That was Man City.
They were a top team.
They had a cash
The
injection.
Newcastle were a relatively top team. They would say around what Spurs are now.
Yeah.
And I would say that Harry Kane is doing it at a harder time than what Alan Shearer did.
But keep to your point.
Levels of professional footballers have increased tenfold
True.
since Alan Shearer broke that record.
But to your point, let's not pretend like the Alan Shearer narrative. People still talk about the fact that he didn't win that much. People still talk about that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, you can talk about him not winning, but I don't think you can say he's not elite because he didn't win a trophy. Because I think, I know like, you can and you will, but I think it's like, it's
a
weird.
struggle for me.
And I know people, I will say if he played for a better team, he would have won a trophy. You never know.
Where do you stand on the conversation, not to stray too far from the Kane, but where do you stand on the conversation about Messi and the World Cup?
That's a great question.
Still the greatest if he didn't win the World Cup
Exactly.
2 months ago.
Exactly.
But now,
Still the best. Still the greatest before
now he has.
Before December.
But now he has. It's elevated him further.
So so winning elevates.
Yeah, he backed you up still.
Yeah.
How did you walk into that?
Mark, scissors. I think that's another scissors. Ladies and gentlemen,
2 weeks in a row.
we got him.
We got him.
We got him.
We got him.
Because I think I personally I find it hard to reconcile. For example, Andy Cole, before he went to Man United, his goal record was a joke, absolute joke, right? But I don't think if he had continued that goal scoring record, I don't think we're talking about Andy Cole in the same breath we do now. If he didn't do it at a club where he slapped Prem, where they banged up the CL, we might be saying he scored lots of goals, but we're not talking about him in the same line. We're not.
Can I just come in there? Because I'm of the view that Kane is world class and he's elite. Because I see it as a team sport, individual. Someone like Andy Cole. For me, Andy Cole and Harry Kane, they're not in the same bracket as a footballer. Yeah,
Andy
one's
Cole
one and Harry Kane.
No, they're not. Harry Kane's a better player.
Yeah, way better player.
Yeah.
So I'm going to remember him as a way better player. But Andy Cole's won these medals. I'm not saying medals don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, the Messi example is a great one. For me, he's the best player ever.
Yep.
Before he won that World Cup in December.
I agree.
True.
So there's too many variables. Because it's team sport, I think you can't just say you ain't won this. Everything you've done, we're minimizing that because he didn't win. Because he didn't win something at the end of it.
No, but I don't think people are saying that though.
No, I don't. It's not a case of minimizing his achievements because his achievements are out of this world. You cannot. He's on par with the greatest.
Even his Champions League record's a joke.
Exactly in terms of scoring.
Yeah.
However, there is a level of player above that you can't put him in because they've done it. They've reached the stage. Yes, okay, they were fortunate enough to be in teams. Not everyone, because there are players that have dragged their team to the title, to winning something. There are players that have done that. But you can't put him in that level because those players have, like I said, fortunate enough to get to the point and then also executed in the moments when it mattered. He hasn't done that.
And also, to add to that as well, mate, I think what's not talked about enough in these decisions in these conversations are the decisions you make in your career are also things that you can be judged for. Well, how many times has Shearer told us, Alex called him and he could have gone to Man United and he didn't? He keeps telling us because people keep reminding him that for someone who scored as many goals as he did,
would have won
and with his talent, he didn't win enough. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think, and then whenever we look at greats and they do documentaries and stuff like that, they always, if you think about it, that those narratives always hinge on the important decision points. You know what? Those kind of sliding doors moments. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
the crossroads moment.
So my actual, and again, it's always with a limited amount of knowledge, but from what we can gather, I'll be honest, I think my biggest criticism of Harry Kane is that you didn't take the risks, and so now you're not getting the reward.
But I feel like one of the reasons he wanted to be Tottenham's greatest ever goal scorer, so he didn't want to give that up. That was one of the reasons why he stayed.
Yeah,
I agree with you. He could have left.
Yeah,
and maybe should have left. But
I think that's the price he's paying.
At the same time, I can't say that I'm rating him less because of that.
Yeah, no, I
don't think we're rating
He's
him
just
less.
not elite.
We're just not putting him in that bracket.
He's just not elite.
But going back to what John said earlier, if he goes to Man United next season, scores 10 Premiership goals, win the league, are you saying he's elite?
Yeah, because of what he's done.
But I don't get that. Like, I don't get that.
You've got to win something, man.
I don't get that.
That's
I don't
confusing to me.
I don't
because he's a guy who's consistently scoring 18 plus Premier League goals a season, and you're saying, right, don't score as much, but the team you're in wins the league.
He's doing it.
He's doing it in a hard league.
It's hard to score.
He doesn't score 10 goals, but you know his style of play. He drops into the middle in this false nine role.
Okay.
So hold on. He doesn't score 10 goals, but his contribution is dropping in, disrupting the play, and allowing the players around him to score goals. So therefore, they go on to win the title.
So keep before you answer. Sorry, let me just build on that point. Yeah. So let's take it away from just numbers. Let's make it a qualitative point, right? So, a bit like RVP. This is slightly dramatic for me to talk about. But okay, fine. Right? So, regardless if he goes there and scores 4 goals or 40, yeah. If he's the piece that they needed to get to that achievement, then you will class him as elite because actually he was what they needed to get that prize. He was what they needed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I understand what you mean as in if he goes there and does less than he's been doing, but I think it's a little bit wider than that. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you can go and be the missing piece. You can go and be that extra quality they needed. He might go there and score 10 goals and do 15 assists. And if we look at those assists, they were key, they were clutch moments. Do you understand what I'm saying? And also, when you hear pros talk, they always say it's not the same, right? Playing as Tottenham and playing all these games and going to these games as Man United or as Man City, it's 2 different things. It's not the same. Right?
Yeah, I would say, agree, like it's a step up in class wherever he goes. I think if he leaves Tottenham, it has to be a step up in class. But I think he's got enough credit in the bank at Tottenham for what he's done to get the elite tag. And if he does move, and wins a trophy, I don't think his elite status should be hinged on that trophy.
Would Modric still be elite if he stayed at Tottenham and won nothing?
Yeah, because he's a great player.
No, he ain't. He ain't elite, bro.
Why?
He's gone to Real Madrid and shown.
Yeah, but
he's taken a step up and still executed his talent at that additional level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get that.
We're not talking about Modric in the same way we talk about him now if he stayed at Tottenham.
You don't know that because there are many players who.
All right, let me expand that then.
I don't just because this person has turned out to be a bit of a person I don't really like in a minute. But Matt Letizia, you can say he's an elite player. He spent his whole.
He's not an elite player to me.
How?
But
okay, I'm older than a lot of you.
What about someone? If you look at the Premier League, what about someone like Steven Gerrard?
Yeah,
didn't win a Premiership. I'll look at the Premier League and say he's still one of the best midfielders.
I'll say he's elite. I'll say he's elite.
He never won the Premier League.
I'll remember.
You know what? We're still calling him elite, ain't we?
No, but I remember that Istanbul, mate. Istanbul makes him elite. That is a guy you can see that
FA Cup final
game,
the year later.
the FA Cup final.
If we're talking Premier only, then
no, we're not talking Premier only.
No, I said player.
I said major trophy.
I said major.
That's the difference between an elite player and just a guy that scores every week and he's got all the numbers and whatever. That there, what he done in Istanbul,
bro. The FA Cup
when he
final.
went right back, bro.
So why wasn't he doing this in the Premiership then? Why didn't he do it in the Premiership then?
No,
he just did it. He tried, but it never happened.
Easy.
It never happened.
No,
Easy.
it's a cup competition. Anyone can come out with the maddest thing at them at
Bro,
any moment.
We
You know,
didn't
as
win the
Arsenal
Champions
fans,
those
League.
are the
We
moments
didn't
you
win the
judge
Champions
them.
League.
Be careful
We
with
didn't
that
win the
Champions
Champions
League.
League when we had Henry.
So and look,
Same thing, innit?
and I think Steven Gerrard's a good parallel because even to this day, his mentality. You know, I think Gary Neville asked him on that, or Carragher, one of them asked him. Said, "Would you swap it for the Prem?" He said, "Yes, any day because he wanted it." So for me, that is a guy who he took a bet and it paid off, right? In the sense because he didn't go to Chelsea, but he can still show his FA Cup medal. I think he's got everything but the Prem.
Yeah.
He's got everything but the Prem, right?
But if it's Chelsea, he'll probably have the Prem.
True, but
One more medal.
If Harry Kane had a couple of FA Cups, and he is where he is now, and then he breaks Alan Shearer's record, I think it's a slightly different conversation. For him to end absolutely trophyless,
It's
come
poor.
on, bro.
It's poor.
There's one other-
You can't even
no,
get a
it's
League
poor.
Cup. bro.
Can I bring one other comparison?
Go on.
It's another sport. It's
Yeah.
basketball. It's Kevin Durant. For years and years and years,
Yeah.
he got battered with the stick.
Yeah.
You ain't won nothing. You're not the greatest. So what did he do? He goes to Golden State. They've really won the title. They don't need him. You made the point about missing piece. They won before him. They won after him. But he's gone there and won 2 championships now.
But if you speak to them, if you speak to Golden State, they will tell you people figured them out. If they didn't get him at that time, they weren't going to win the rest of
But
the ones
if
that
you
they
talk
did.
to him,
Yeah.
those championships didn't mean much to him. He said, I didn't feel any different afterwards because I've
think
just
that's
gone there
different,
just
though.
to
Yeah,
win.
I think
that's different. Basketball's
Kane,
different.
I think Kane wants to win a trophy,
Yeah,
but
and also
I'm just
Kevin Durant has the luxury of saying that after he's won it, innit? That's my point. Yeah, you got to win it to have that view and understand
it's
that
nice
it
to
doesn't
win
mean
trophies,
yeah.
but I think if he retires breaking the Premiership goal scoring record, which if he stays in the country, if stays in the Prem, I think he will. It's not the best, but that's
bro.
not an easy achievement.
Let me be clear. If Harry Kane finishes his career as the highest goal scorer ever
For
England and in the Prem,
League, that's not
and
that's not a
Tottenham,
bad career.
he's not going to cry himself to sleep at
Yeah,
night.
it's not a bad career.
However,
You're gonna take. Sorry, go on.
at that level, those guys, they want to win, bro. So I
They
think
do.
even the fact that this debate will even be possible to be had is I think it's sad for someone of that talent and someone who had that much output so consistently over a long period
Remember
of
what
time.
we're saying?
And-
When nothing, you know.
Yeah,
and
League Cup,
these are
FA
records.
Cup.
These are records that can be broken, and your name no longer you can
I think,
no longer.
I think if Kane gets the Prem record, no one's breaking it.
which is fine, but these are records that can be broken, and your name can be removed from the history books,
Can I
right?
say?
Let me just
Go on.
land this point. Winning something, they can never remove that from you.
Facts.
Yeah, no, I get it.
They
but
can
I
never
I
remove
just
that.
don't
You're in the
think-
history book.
But
I
he's
don't
had a
think
better
you're
career
elite
than
state.
people that have won stuff.
Mm,
He has.
Is that a better career? Is that a better career than
He's
two
had a
people?
better
All
career,
right.
yeah.
He's had
Than
a
people that have won
better
stuff, yeah.
individual
The
career.
most people that have
yeah.
won
But
stuff.
we're talking
But
about-
it all goes back to people say, would you take Vardy's career or Harry Kane's?
I would
Everyone
take
said
Harry
Vardy.
Kane's.
What?
You're going
Over
crazy,
over
bro.
Vardy?
You're going mad. bro.
What do you-
Nah, you had me till then.
No,
bro.
wait, no, wait.
what you doing?
I don't think it's as bad as it sounds.
Yeah.
Of
course
I
it
don't-
is.
I don't think
He's
it's
banged
bad.
goals.
would
Look,
take
you're a
Harry Kane's.
striker. Vardy bangs goals. He's
I
calm.
would take Harry
He's been
Kane's
banging
career all
goals his
day.
whole career, and he's won the Prem, and he's won the thingy,
Prem, FA Cup,
FA
Bro.
Cup.
come from non-league.
What is that? Non-league, and you've been banging goals.
Harry Kane
I'm
is
taking
a,
Vardy.
Harry
Like,
Kane is a
the
national.
top goal
I'm a Harry
scorer
Kane.
ever
I'm
in
a Harry Kane.
in
I'm a
the Premier
legend.
League.
That
No, no.
Leicester legend
I would take Vardy's career
forever.
but I don't think it's
Statue.
mad what you're saying.
I would take
I don't think
Kane's.
it's mad. I would take Vardy's, but I don't think what you're saying is mad.
I think
It is mad.
Kane's got to do too much.
Because
to
all
pick
that
Kane
is
over Vardy.
scoring goals.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
like
a lot.
it's easy.
It's a lot. But what we're talking about is elite, though.
Yeah.
So I'm not just saying it
Yeah.
just for like what.
Daz, you know the best
You
way I can
don't do
explain
nothing.
it?
Imagine to be the top goal scorer of your nation ever. For
That
me,
could
that's
go.
huge.
Like what
That's
Isaac
huge.
said, though, that
That's
can go.
huge.
What if
Velocity,
Haaland? What if
yeah.
Haaland stayed at
That's
Man City
huge.
for to the end of his
That's
career?
huge.
Yeah.
You're telling me he can't break Harry Kane's
Yeah, but he won't,
Premier
man.
League? No,
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
what-
saying. Do you think he can't?
What if then?
Yeah.
No, yeah,
It's a
it could be.
possibility.
But
Yeah.
I
It
think,
is an actual
I think
possibility.
if Kane breaks, like Shearer's record, when did Shearer retire? Like 10 odd years ago?
It might
Like,
even be a little bit longer. Yeah.
a little longer than that.
yeah,
But
like,
yeah, you can have it for at least 10 years.
So look,
So,
the best
what
way-
you going to say, John?
the best way I can summarize is that for me, for someone like I said of his talent, that he did what you're supposed to do. Produce at a high level consistently for a long period of time.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what pros, he's the embodiment of what you're supposed to be a top pro, right?
Mhm.
So to be talking about someone like that, and he hasn't got the ultimate thing that we're in professional sport for, I say we, that they're in professional sport for, which is to win the competitions that they enter, I just think it's sad. It will be
it would be.
unfulfilling. It will be an unfulfilled thing. That's all. We're not rubbishing him. We're not saying that. Like, I just think it will be sad.
Would you feel very bad? Even Arsenal, when we was in the mud, bro, we still FA Cups.
But
Look at the teams. Look at the players that we had. Still had a day out in Wembley. Bro,
They had a couple days
terrible.
It's the same way it's poured out. We haven't won the
terrible.
Champions
So
League.
what, if he picked up a League Cup next season, is everyone gonna say, "Will you feel any different about him?" I wouldn't.
Bro,
What difference was it
What
gonna
did I
make?
say earlier?
Not for the
If
numbers he's got, but-
Shearer's got a Prem medal, and the conversation still comes round like every couple of years. So
What could have
I think no matter what happens now, he's still gonna pay. He's still gonna pay the price of not taking those risks. Because even if he wins one Prem now, he's still gonna be like,
all right. But to that point, even that conversation even comes up with the players like Messi. The people were saying for Messi to be considered in the pantheons of like Maradona, Ronaldo, Pele, he needed the World Cup, right? So why is Shearer no different? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Why he won the Premiership? And I think the reason why people keep bringing that up for him, because he was such a big name, such a big player, such a big talent. A player like him, although nothing is guaranteed or nothing is deserved, but certain players, you kind of want them to win,
to show for it.
have more to show
because we know
for
if
it.
you go there and do what you've been doing, it's a joke.
So that's why
joke.
they look at players like Messi, they look at players like Kane, Shearer, whoever else it may be that's in that bracket of, we feel like you should have won more. They go, well, you're a player of that caliber, so we kind of feel you should have.
He's had opportunities as well. He's had opportunities in the league. When Leicester won it, he had opportunity in the Champions League final.
Played the League Cup final too.
League Cup final.
It's a bit like the Pep thing. I think it's ridiculous, but Pep knows, or he said himself, he has to win the Champions League with City for him to be left alone, be exalted. And I think it's bonkers. He had probably one of the best, he cultivated one of the best club teams football will ever see, and now we're still doubting him. But that's just the way the game goes. Even he said it himself.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But then
I agree with what Pep said. Yeah.
Look at the Pep versus Mourinho thing.